What's up, YouTube? My name's Riley. I'm an ACE certified personal trainer, and this week I want to talk about motivation. If you had a chance to watch last week's video about setting SMART goals with 2 A's and 1 S for accomplishing our New Year's resolutions, then you're definitely ready to watch this next video. If you hadn't had a chance to do that yet, I might suggest pausing here, going back, watching that video before proceeding with this video. So in this week's video, we're talking about motivation. There's a lot of different theories and models of explaining and looking at motivation, how you might identify it, how you might categorize it, how you might alter it, what forms are best for what situations. And I'm going to talk about the theory of self-determination by Deci and Ryan. In this theory of motivation, there are 3 psychological needs that all humans have, and it's autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy is choice over what you do, the freedom to pick how it's done, what you're going to do. In our SMART goal, the last S, self-determined, is that autonomy. The second need, competence, is your perceived ability. It's believing in your knowledge, expertise, and physical ability to do whatever you're setting out to do yourself. It's understanding what the task is and how to get there. In our SMART goal, the R for realistic, setting a goal that's appropriately challenging for where you're at, how much time you have, and your physical abilities, supports the competence need. And the third need, relatableness, is your sense of belonging and connection to others. It's meaningfully connecting with other people in whatever environment or social situation your goal or task places you in. It could be in the gym, it could be in the workplace. It's that sense of belonging and usefulness that you're contributing to the group. And when all 3 of these psychological needs are met, you create what's called intrinsic motivation. And that is when you're doing something out of pure enjoyment. You're doing something because you love doing it. You're not doing it for a reward. You're not doing it to compete against somebody else. You're not doing it to avoid a punishment. You're not doing it for any outcomes or any goals, any productivity markers. You're doing it just because you want to, you love it, and you find a deep sense of satisfaction and enjoyment in doing the task. That is intrinsic motivation. For long-term health and behavior goals, this is the best form of motivation to have because it is very durable and long-lasting. When any of these 3 psychological needs are not being met, you start to shift down into extrinsic motivation. And that's where external factors are coming in and providing some motivation to you. The first step down is integrated regulation. That's where you value the outcome or some benefit of whatever you're doing. You enjoy the activity, but you also value what you get out of the activity. For example, our SMART goal of last week of taking 7,000 steps daily. If you love walking, but you value the health benefits of getting those 7,000 steps daily, then you would have an integrated regulation form of motivation. You enjoy the activity, but you also value and see benefit in the outcome of doing the activity or reaching the goal. The second step below that is identified regulation. That's where you want to do something. You still have some enjoyment in the activity, but it's more about accomplishing or achieving those outcomes. It might be about achieving certain goals or certain markers of productivity. You do whatever the activity or goal is willingly, but you're more motivated by the outcome than your actual enjoyment of the activity. The third step down is introjected regulation. And this is when you feel like you should do something or you feel obligated to do something. This is about social pressures, cultural pressures, workplace obligations, familial obligations. It can be based on social comparison or social competition. Whatever the activity or goal is, you don't find enjoyment in it, and you're motivated by the comparison or the competition or others' approval or satisfying obligations. The fourth step down is external regulation, and that's when you feel like you have to do something. You're motivated by rewards or the fear of punishments. Some students will only study for a test because they know they'll get a $20 bill if they get an A. Their academic success is motivated by that external reward. Whatever that source of motivation is, the need of reward or the threat of punishment is what motivates them to do the activity or accomplish the goal. And at the very bottom, the sixth form of motivation is amotivation, or the lack thereof of any motivation. This is when you have no reason to achieve the task or the goal. Whatever it is, it seems irrelevant to your life, that you'll have no benefit from doing it. You might also feel like your actions won't have any impact or be able to change whatever situation or outcome is currently happening in your life. So why would you take action if you can't have any control over the situation? Or you might not understand exactly what the task and goal is or how to accomplish it. This describes amotivation or the lack thereof. You have no drive or desire to actually accomplish the goal or the task. Identifying the type of motivation behind your SMART goals can really help for long-term success. Extrinsic forms of motivation are not bad for short-term goals and accomplishments. They can be very successful. But long-term changes in behavior, health, and habits really need to be more intrinsically motivated. They need to be shifted up more towards the top three forms of motivation. These three forms of motivation are more sustainable, they're more durable, they last longer, and you're more likely to succeed in the long run when you have a higher form of motivation. So between now and next week, try to think about what motivation is behind the goal that you might have set for yourself. I'll use last week's example of getting 7,000 steps daily. Someone might be motivated to get those 7,000 steps daily because they deeply enjoy walking, but they also value the health benefits that come with getting those steps. This would be the first form of extrinsic motivation. Alternatively, someone might be motivated to get those 7,000 steps daily because their doctor informed them if they don't get more exercise, they'll face some sort of negative health outcome. And so they're doing the 7,000 steps daily to avoid a punishment, as you will, the negative health outcome. And this would be the fourth form of extrinsic motivation. So try to think about what is motivating you to reach your goals and which of these six motivations you think it's most closely related to. In next week's video, I'll talk about how we might shift from the lower forms of extrinsic motivation towards the higher forms or perhaps even intrinsic motivation by supporting our autonomy, competence, and relatedness through various means. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.